Hello, everyone. This week I chose the What Would You Do scenario of food waste. So, for this scenario, the City of Baltimore is issuing a grant to encourage less food waste and establish sustainable community based food security programs. A community assistance network is trying to set up a free food bank for low income families in the area and looking for grants to fund it. They expect to raise about $5,000 to $10,000 on their own, and with funding from the grant, they would expect a total of $60,000. They know that one refrigerated cargo truck would cost $40,000. So the first decision would be between building a warehouse to store the food and establishing different means of transportation to deliver it, or funding a more effective food transportation system like that cargo truck and consequently limiting the amount of food that they can store due to having a small warehouse. I chose to allocate the money towards building a bigger warehouse and using the leftovers for transportation. I made this decision to encourage a more efficient allocation of finances rather than using two-thirds of the grant to purchase that delivery truck. We can encourage more donations with more storage means and then use the other funds to purchase better coolers and delivering tools for volunteers to overcome obstacles for families who are struggling. This led us to our second decision, which was with limited volunteer resources, we must decide between collecting food donations from supermarkets and having families in need come and pick it up from the warehouse, or encouraging household drop off donations and having volunteers deliver it. I decided that it would be best to have volunteers deliver the food to cultivate a feeling of anonymity for the families in need and overcoming the potential barrier of transportation because if they're struggling with finances and food scarcity, it's likely that they're struggling with means of transportation as well. This allows families and businesses to drop off the donations of food at their own convenience as well. So, with that being said, the outcome was that some volunteers would collect, sort, and catalog food for the storage facility, while others would be dispatched to deliver food to households. However, it was then announced that the grant would only be awarded if those households in the area are willing to participate in the drop-off program, proven through a survey, and deliverers must be able to show that food has not been tampered with. Um, there also must be a committed roster of volunteers to deliver the food and participate in the organization. So, the outcome ultimately demonstrated that more storage for food donations does not always help food scarcity and waste disposal issues on a grand enough scale. If I would have done more research before making my decisions based off of like what I read in the textbook and what I felt was the right answer, um, I would have known that BMC Public Health does say that food pantries and local grocery stores prefer more direct store to pantry donations. Food pantries also typically obtain groceries through donations from local farms and community food drives and purchases from grocery stores or wholesalers, which are typically picked up at the time of their delivery. Also, Feeding America, which is a very large organization dedicated to food scarcity in America, only accepts donations from growers, grocers, and industry partners, and not donations from individuals, which makes more sense on a grander scale because it ensures the better quality of food for the people who are in need. Thank you so much.